Hey everybody, it's I, your Survivor buddy Gordon Holmes here with the nerdiest thing you're gonna do all week. I'm talking about the Survivor Power Rankings. A big welcome to all my beautiful nerds out there in Cyberland. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know, and here's the thing, I always kick it off by saying it's the nerdiest thing you're gonna do all week, and that's a bit of branding, but this week is true because this week it is time for the much beloved Limerick episode of the Survivor Power Rankings. Introducing first, he said if he won his last attempt at the Power Rankings, I had to give him like a cool boxing nickname, and I'm a man of my word. So please welcome one quarter of the Reba Four talking about the real deal, Drew Basile. Welcome, Drew.
Ooh. Hey, Gordon, that was pretty good. You know what? I also came in with a commitment, which is that every time I introduce myself on these podcasts, I'm so awkward. I don't know what to say that I end up introducing the next person like pass the buck to escape, like throwing you under the bus, Frannie. But this time I'm not going to introduce whoever is with us. It's just me. I don't know who else it is, but it's great to be here, Gordon. Let me tell you, I've written some excellent limericks to recite for you to versify today.
Nice, thank you, Drew. And I appreciate. I have so little to do, and since I forfeited my position to Katura last week, I haven't ranked in like 10 weeks. So if we lose, and we're gonna lose, it's not on me.
Hey, whoa, we're gonna. What do you mean we're gonna lose?
I mean, when we win, I won't be able to take
have
a lot
faith, Gordon.
When
faith.
we win, I won't be able to take a lot of credit. Okay, in my corner, I might as well introduce you. The Maria to my Charlie, the Denise to my Malcolm. I'm talking about the woman who, now that Hunter has been eliminated, I'm told is tied for the most immunity wins of the modern era. Frannie Marin. Welcome, Frannie. Is that true?
Yeah. I don't actually think it's true. So here's the thing. So that's the thing that Omer said on Twitter, which I loved. I was like, thank you for pointing that out. But I think that he's counting wins, tribal wins that I actually sat out of the challenge. So I don't know that those should count in the final. You think those count?
I think those count.
I think if you don't count them, I might be tied, but I've had more individual wins than Hunter, and that's what people care about anyways. So
Frannie, let me give you a little bit of advice. When we go to Survivor Press, we'll run an immunity challenge against the Dream Team, and in one, my record is a astounding 10 wins and 2 losses. But among those wins is a second place finish in a 3-person challenge, but I wouldn't have been eliminated, so that counts as a win. So if people are going to give you wins, take them.
Yeah. What am I doing? I'm sorry. What am I doing? Yes, I have won the most times of anyone in the new era. I actually won all 6 new era seasons. You're about to see it coming up in a couple weeks. So, no, thank you. I'm proud of that.
$1 million for Frannie.
$6 million. Yeah.
So last week's show, wow. I don't know. I'm thankful I'm not ranking because I can't put any of these people in any kind of order that makes sense because nothing makes sense. To start off, Drew, let's start with you. Kenzie turning on Tiff immediately. Her buddy who has immunity out can help her out. Like she wants to get rid of Tiff. What do you make of that move?
It is baffling. Like it feels like there's like the Lords and the Serfs this season, and the Lords are the Sigas, and they sit at the round table, and then you have everyone like coming to court, and they'll throw their neighbors under the bus, they'll throw their kids under the bus. They don't care. They just want to get a seat at the table. So Kenzie, is coming to Ben and is like, oh yeah, I'll toss Tiffany, I'll toss Q. I just want to be with you guys. And it's amazing. I don't know what's going on. I'll tell you, Gordon and Frannie, I mean, you were out there. I don't know if it was like this on 44. This is it's like recruiting season. It's all careerism. Everybody's got to get credit for the move, and they all printing out their CVs and they're writing their cover letters. And I mean, you're asking to get taken out. I don't understand. There's a lot of things I don't understand this season, Gordon. It's like a bunch of nails competing to be who can be the highest for the hammer.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point you make about people who made what move. Liz very upset that people aren't appreciating her moves, but when it gets to final tribal and she says, I'm responsible for getting out Tevin, everybody voted for Tevin but Hunter. So it seems like people will be in the know. So people trying to take ownership of these moves, long before final tribal. Seems like I'm putting the cart way in front of the horse. Frannie, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that anything you do or do not do can be used to your advantage at Final Tribal. And I don't think that you need to be the first person to put out a name in order for you to claim it as something important that you did for your game. Maria seemed upset that Kenzie was bringing up Tiff's name. And she's like, well, I really wanted to have Tiff be my move. Maria can say that. She can say, I've been talking about Tiff for, the past 6 days. As soon as I heard Kenzie bring it up, I jumped on it and I made it happen. Like anything you can spin at Tribal Council to make it into your move. Yeah, I find it really, really odd. I'm actually curious. There's been some talk on Twitter this week as well about the fact that 46, right before they left, watched all of my season 44. And I feel like I see some influences of that. Like, for example, Carolyn is a person on 44 who we saw make a lot of moves, but then wasn't really able to like claim them or take ownership of them at the end. I wonder if people look at a situation like that and think, I need to make my credit clear now, because if I get to the end and I can't speak enough to it, then it'll get me nothing. But yeah, I think it's poor strategy. Wait until the end to say everything that you've done. You don't need to do it in the middle.
Yeah, Franny, I think that's an excellent point. Like I've always said that the season is so influenced by the last season they watched. I imagine all of 46 is like, how can I be more Franny-esque? I imagine they on a daily basis they're asking themselves that question. And to be fair, I ask myself that question every day as well.
Yeah, well, it's just a day in the life. It was funny, like watching this episode. I felt a lot of similarities to Hunter, because I think that he, I'm sorry to see him go, and I think that he had a lot of like interesting elements to his game, but I sort of feel like he, discounted himself and his position a little too early. Like, I think he showed up at the merge, having done well in challenges, and immediately had this thought in his head, like, I'm going to be seen as a challenge threat. I'm playing from the bottom. I have my ammunition. I got my idol, whatever. And didn't necessarily put in as much time as others to build relationships to like get himself out of that hole. And instead was just perceiving that he was down there. I feel like I kind of did that too. So I can like empathize with him there. But yeah, it's shocking that he did not play his idol. Truly shocking.
Drew, do you think that him losing Tevin, because Tevin seemed to be the more social of that duo, he wasn't able to pick up the pieces and form his own alliances after Tevin left?
Yeah, I mean, Hunter seems like, really, if you can pick anyone in this cast who's a regular person, Hunter is the regular guy. And it very much seems like he got to the merge, he had his bud Tevin, and Q came to him with this 6, and he was ready to settle. He was going to buy the house. He was done renting. And I think when Tevin, who had a little bit more kind of social maneuvering, a little bit more connections, got sniped, but then Q was an anchor rather than an asset. I mean, he had a bad mortgage, So I think Hunter was kind of called his chips in too early. I mean, he was trying to be pivot, though. To be fair, like you could see him really making an effort to build a relationship with Kenzie. But was that the person to build a relationship to? I mean, it kind of speaks maybe to like a little bit dullness on the gauge of social dynamics. So you got to feel for the guy. But what's really shocking for Hunter is not playing that idol, as you said, Franny. Like, if you are at Tribal and you're asking that many people, like, oh, is it okay? Like, is it what I think it is? The reason you're doing that is because you in your gut know something's wrong, right? Like, if you're confident, you're not doing that. So just trust your gut. If you feel the need to ask that many people, that it's a sign from God, and you should play the thing. So it's a very unfortunate mistake for Hunter. It should be a life lesson for all the future Survivor players in the comments below. But yeah, just a combination of kind of not quite the social sharpness that he needed, combined with maybe feeling like he needed to play the game like a certain way.
Yeah, well, and also like the fact that he, like you said, Drew, he's asking people if he's safe. He clearly knows that something's wrong. And he also knows, because he did it, that everyone knows about his idol. So, the longer that he holds on to it, the more that it continues to paint a target on him. And he should have had the same logic that Tiff had, even though she also didn't go through with it, which is that once it's known, it's burning a hole in your pocket. Like, you just need to get it away from you because it's putting a target on you. So yeah, I don't know. I was also shocked that Tiff didn't play hers. Yeah, a lot of, comfort this Tribal, even though there shouldn't have been. Like, that it's so odd that they didn't play it.
Yeah, I was blown away when Tiff said that she was going to play her idol, because if you're someone like Tiff who is liked but not, like a super social threat like someone like Tevin, but and is okay at challenges but isn't Hunter, and the only reason to target her is that idol, the idea of burning that to me was fascinating. Because your instinct is hold on to it until you need it, but like once that's gone, there's no reason to target Tiffany. So I was really fascinated by that move, and the fact that she didn't play it at all was even more surprised.
Yeah,
But
I
and
wish she
it's
had played
possible,
it.
it's possible idols are cursed this season because the only idol that was played was fake. So, and two
Yeah.
have gone home in people's pockets. So it's possible they're cursed.
It's true. Maybe this is Ghost Island part 2. There's, they're not reversing the curse. It's not happening. Yeah, I agree with you, Gordon. Like, I think it was like really good logic on her part to want to blow it and to want to blow it so like publicly, the idol. Because truly, like even the smallest advantage that somebody has, it shines a light on them. Like I'm sure that was a factor with Tevin too, the fact that he had that extra vote. Even though an extra vote, it feels so useless. Like it's just anything that you have above somebody else puts a spotlight on you and is dangerous. Yeah, so she's in an interesting position going into the rest of the game.
Yeah, and something else that I noticed this week, saucy Jeff Probst, predicting one tribe is not going to make it to the second round of the immunity challenge, handing out bowls of popcorn, having a cushion on his tribal council seat. What's going on there? What do you think? How do we feel about Jeff really letting loose this week? I mean, is he going to show up in his pajamas? Next episode? I have no idea. What do we expect from this guy?
Production is really aware of what the season is going to look like as they're taping it. And I think that Jeff getting a little spicy is number one a reflection of the fact that like Soft Survivor is boring, which it is, as a player and as a viewer. But two, that they think they've got a really good season on their hands. They think things are going really well. They love the conflict. Was the popcorn too much? Absolutely. I was pretty pissed, to be honest with you, because like, what is that? The last time that happened was Champagne and Winners of War, and I think they got some chocolate in Heroes versus Villains. Like, I love Q, I love Venus. You guys are not, you're not there yet. So
yeah,
I felt like a Eliza type gatekeeper. Like, whoa, not it's 26 days, not 39 days. You got to start for you don't get popcorn. But yeah.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Drew, that, they are so aware of what is going to be good TV. And I think that Jeff, feels excited about this group of people. He loves the conflict. And I think he wants to kind of like stoke that further. Because I remember on 44, people would sometimes make comments like, oh, like that like you guys are doing a good job. And it would make us excited. And it probably made us do even crazier things because we were like, we're doing a good job. Like, let's keep going. So I wonder if a similar thing is happening with 46, where like when they roll up to tribal and Jeff has popcorn for the first time and a cushion, they're thinking to themselves, we're making good TV. Let's keep the train rolling and keep making crazy moves, which is good for television. So he's feeding the beast, Jeff, with popcorn.
Well, I'm not Jeff Probst. I'm not going to make a similar prediction that he did for today because I appreciate that both of you two are power rankings heavyweights. Let's dive into last week. Julie Alley had Hunter in spot 8, while Katura Tops had him in spot 7. Our two secret lawyers. Frannie, I don't know if you watched last week. I did sing the secret lawyer song.
As you should.
As I should. The current score is Reba Four, -1 +1, 108, and Gordon's wonderful all-stars of amazing victory, 98. That's a 10-point deficit. Frannie.
It's a really hopeful name. I like the amazing victory tag at the end.
How about Gordon's buddies? Gordon's buddies who are trying their best. With 98 points. So Frannie, even if you get it right and Drew gets it completely wrong, we're still not going to catch up, but there's still time. I think over the summer I'm going to put together a panel of like how do we zhuzh up these rules a little bit so we don't have blowouts like we had the past couple of seasons.
Score multiplier at the end.
Yeah, I think it's
score
multiplier.
Yes.
How can we integrate a medallion of power, things along those lines. Let's hop into the message board and see how the viewers did. Nobody called it right. Nobody had Hunter going home, which I'm not surprised. If Couture didn't do the rankings last week, we would have been in way worse trouble because I would have had Hunter way higher. I'm like we said, he's a challenge threat. His number one person just got voted out, and then it blows my mind he didn't play the idol, and especially like you said, Drew, with him questioning it so much. So I would have probably had him significantly higher. So nobody called it, not surprising. At spot 8, we have JP15 as me. Cats Rule the World, Sloan Comments Things, JM Chap, Nathan Bomber, Rat Gravity, Jag 519, Ghetto Hamster, and Dominic Riesland. 7 points for Amy Robin, Big Brothers Spoilers, Survivor Drip, Saxophonia, Fat Ass the Great, Braden Anders, Joel M. Gallagher, AM Long 14, Sue Scott, Shot in the Dark, Log by Bulb, and Sean Gohan. Spot 6, Stephen M., Kendrick McClanahan, B. Lemon, Nikki 20, Logan Smith, Okodiner, Nadia X01, Christian Dicker, Canado, Roman 3123, C Blazer C, and Eric Swain. 5 points for Z and Ramos, Potato Dog, You know how I feel about
Love you,
dog.
potato dog. Yeah, no, I'm on it. I'm on it. Yeah, sorry. I'm slow on the uptake today.
Kristen Schechter, David T, Straight Sigh, Phoebe Little, Ferret Bandit, Carpe Diem, Vincent Maestas, 4 points for Dylan W, Baby Fox, Duke, Dot Motion, Chris Hamilwan, 2 points. That's bad. Trevor the Therapist, Mouse Sparks, and J.K. Morgan. And we had 5 people who had him as safe as a baby in his or her mother's arms. We need a term for that. If you like, absolutely, if you end up at spot 1. So cyber hugs going out if you're willing to accept them to Yuki, PT2LM, Karasu Gama, Jenna Dam, Andrew Gulia, and Kevin A. It's rough. And
It's a tough week.
Don't feel bad. Like I said, like Hunter should have played the idol, but all intents and purposes. So best of luck next week. There's always another week, except for the finale, and then there's no more weeks. We have some bets going on.
I was going to say that was crazy. That's so many people in the chat playing along. That's like really exciting. You sounded like an auctioneer. Like you were just there was so much you had to say.
No,
that's why I was blown away. That's why I missed my cue there.
Picking up.
It blows my mind that you spend your valuable time doing this. That the viewers spend their valuable time doing. Like, we might need a new hobby. This is a very nerdy pursuit, and today is the nerdiest pursuit. We have some bets going on. For example, if Gordon's Amazing All-Stars of Wonderful Victory win, Julie is going to send us Girl Scout themed cupcakes. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hoping for some sympathy cupcakes. The way things are going, I think that's the move, is because she's very nice. She's a very nice secret lawyer. A gunner, apparently, is the lawyer term that she goes by. But if we can come back and win, we get cupcakes. If we lose, the Reba Four -1+1 gets sandwiches. And if we lose and it's Frannie's fault, we all get to be in her wedding. So I don't want to lose.
It's a lot of stipulations.
A lot
here.
of
This is great.
I don't want to lose. I do want to be in Frannie's wedding.
There have been so many people affiliated with this thing this season. Like you made a huge commitment. It's not just Gordon. It's like,
when I made this commitment, I think it was myself, Gordon, and Owen. I was like, that's pretty chill. And then now Gordon's adding, everyone and their mother to our team.
When the day comes, whoever your partner is, and hopefully it's Matt, who knows? I don't want to put anything out there. I hope he has a lot of friends. I hope he has a significant, or split us up. Like that's fine too.
Yeah, we could, draw lots for whose side you're on.
I need to be on your side because I have the maid of honor speech. So,
well, that's a given. Yeah, you weren't included in what I just said. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, the rules of the Survivor Power Rankings are as follows. Each week, a member from each team will create separate power rankings. The ranking of the person who is voted out of the next episode will determine the number of points the players will earn. For example, if Kenzie is voted out of this episode and Drew has her in 3rd place and Frannie has her in 7th place, Drew's team will receive 3 points and Frannie's team will receive 7 points. At the end of the season, the team with the most points will be named the Survivor Power Rankings Challenge Champions. Important to note, rankings are not based on who the player thinks is most likely to win the entire season.
No.
There you go. The smart strategy is to rank players based on how safe you think they are in the upcoming vote. All right, ready to go?
Yes.
All right, Drew, start us off with number 1.
Now, before I begin, I got to tell you, I'm in Italy right now. I'm in Sorrento, and today I went looking at the stalls to see if I get like one of those like Motley caps, like the full jester caps, to wear for my, my versifying. I couldn't find one, but my number 1, a similarly Italian theme, like a puppeteer pulling strings. It's so oft better to hide behind things than grovel in limelight for credit of blindside. So Charlie shall take my champion's ring.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
God, I didn't know we were.
Major.
My God, this is like I just gotta say, I've got I'm drunk in an Irish bar at 2 a.m. style limericks. You've got like Shakespearean.
No, that's authentic limerick. Actually, that is also the limerick I was most proud of. So it's only downhill from here. But similarly, I have a lot of pride with Charlie's my number 1 pick because Charlie is real. I really feel like Charlie's playing like an elite strategic game. I've been so high in Maria for weeks, and I hate to admit this, but I'm kind of starting to realize that maybe I was like accenting the wrong person in that duo. Like it seems like Charlie has like such a head for the game. He like messages himself so well as kind of like unassuming and naive. But then when he kind of needs to like put his foot down, he does. He doesn't. He's not a doormat. Like he lets people be comfortable, but He knows what he needs to do. I've been really impressed by his vision. He doesn't make like irrational, unnecessary decisions. And I think that there are so many people who are going to get chopped out of him in that group, like Maria, Ben, Kenzie. Like I think he's probably the safest person, best insulated person out there on the beach. So he's my number one. If he goes home, like I'll eat a hat. I don't know.
Whoa, can we get that in?
That's what
right?
we recorded.
You will eat a jester
that was
hat?
supposed
Jester
to be
hat?
idiomatic, but if Charlie goes home, I will eat at least one piece of a hat my next time home. That's
That
my
went
commitment.
Just a
Well,
bite, just a bite.
Leather,
Yeah.
leather is not edible. I could end up in the hospital. I like you, Gordon, a lot, but there are limits.
No, I
Stakes are high.
love this program. I love this crazy little community we've built here. I could not forgive myself if anything happened to you, Drew, over this frivolity. So, maybe find some kind of nacho hat. Maybe that's the way to go.
Anyways.
Yeah, I will say, Charlie, we'll get to him later in my rankings, but he was my winner pick from the very beginning. So I still feel pretty good about that. Yeah, I think he's doing an awesome job. In my spot one, I'm gonna read my limerick first. Now Ben is sliding on through. He's with Siga and maybe Yanu. He's in no one's sights, so the time may be right to make his strategic debut. So, okay. Thank you. Whoa, chug. So spot one, I have Ben. And Ben, I think, so, okay, despite in my limerick saying that it's maybe time for him to make his strategic debut, I don't actually know that I think he's going to do that. It was more of like a rhyming scheme type of thing. I think that Ben, so far what he's shown us is he likes to be a little more of a follower, I think, strategically. And I don't know if you guys saw the secret scene with him and Maria, where she like still thinks that he might have an idol. She really doesn't seem to trust him. He sort of talks about how he was feeling on the outs, feeling really distressed after Tim left. But now I feel like he's maybe put himself back into a comfortable position. I think he still really has a working relationship with Charlie and Maria. It seems like he's building a working relationship with people like Kenzie. We see them talking a lot. Maybe somebody like Tiff. We've even seen him in conversations with like Liz and Venus. And frankly, most importantly, who is Ben hurting right now? Like whose game is worse off because Ben is here? I think no one. I think everyone sees him as a chill guy and potentially an option. And for that reason, I just have a really hard time seeing him get targeted this week.
Yeah. Hunter said something very disturbing about Ben in Exit Press, where he said after the merge, he kind of stopped with like the rocking out talk.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Don't let Survivor change
sacrifice yourself.
Like,
yeah.
like that's, you have to go home
God.
and be your own person. Like you owe that to your friends and your family. So I hope it hasn't changed him too much.
Yeah, you got to shred, Ben. You got to shred. He did say out shred during Tribal this week. So that's, there's a glimmer there.
I'll hope it's not lost.
I'll hope it's not lost.
Maybe that's some kind of post audio thing they're sliding in there. So we think that Ben's okay.
Yeah. Ben's like outwit, outplay, outshred. It's like a Frankenplay.
It's like dubbed in, like Frankenbit. Yeah. Listen, right, there is that fatal mid-merge fatigue. So Ben and I think Liz are sliding into it. But
well, now that the merge is on like day 9, like how bad can it be?
Oh my God! FYI for context. Sorry, Eliza's very nice. In person.
Yes,
maybe not on Twitter. Yeah. Okay. So in my spot 2, here's my limerick. This man is truly a fruitcake. He's giving his whole tribe a headache. But is he such a goat that they'll put off the vote? If so, they're making a big mistake. That's for Q in spot 2. Now, this is, I'm good. Thank you. My overall strategy, I meant to lead with this. My overall strategy with these rankings this week is to try to take some big swings, make some odd picks, and hopefully put some people, high that Drew will have low and vice versa. Because the name of the game right now is just like getting points back. And I also think this is a good time in the game, like the season, to be doing this, because I feel like 8th place, maybe I'm biased because that's where I went out. I feel like 8th place is when people really start looking around and thinking, who's a threat? Who do I want to bring with me to the end? We're getting so close, and start to turn on people that they think will potentially beat them in the end. So things feel really up in the air. And I think somebody like Q is almost too obvious to go home right now. He's caused so much trouble, so much chaos. But if they can tolerate him for a couple more votes, somebody said it this week. Tiff said it this week. She's not going to vote for him at the end. And people are starting to realize that. And I think might see Q as somebody they want to sit next to at the end. So I know that he really seems to be distressing a lot of people, maybe especially Liz in the next time on. I was a little concerned by that, to be totally honest. But I think they're going to be able to hold off a little bit longer on him, keep him around.
I think you make a great point there. Like, there's still a lot of game left to play, but at this point, I'm looking to try to get to the end with Q and Venus, possibly, just because it seems like they would have a real tough time in front of a jury.
I mean, you could probably beat a nuclear warhead at tribal council. Do you really want to, sit around with one for 10 days? Like, I don't share your faith for either of those two. But I do, however, have to agree with you on your first, your first pick. My second limerick: out shred, out rock, around the clock. There is no air guitar atop the block. Of Ben I see no chance that his song and dance will play out any blindside shock. Or in any blindside shock. That's supposed to be what it is. Very similar reasons. I mean, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Ben to go home in this kind of stretch of the game. Really, I think 8 to 6, where like the big moves are made, and then things kind of solidify to how, basically who's gonna be a final tribal from 6 to whatever. This is going to be, I really feel like this is a big vote. It's something, high octane, and Ben might not be like the jury threat this night. Ben, in theory, every time we see him, he feels like he's doing things right, and yet he must be doing something wrong, because how is he the target every vote? It doesn't make sense. He's in the majority, so like he's somebody to throw a name at, but he's not threatening. He can't defend himself, and I really, really worry about his long-term equity. And I think that Hunter's comment, which I actually did see, Gordon, because I watched your interview for this one. I'm very proud of that.
Me too.
Those views.
Did my homework. Yeah.
It will make me less special, Frannie. But I think that the fact that his energy is tanking, he's not rocking out anymore. It's like slow jazz, is a reflection of the fact that he's gassed, and that only gets worse. Like, if you fizzle out now, there's no rally, there's no rebound. So I'm not sure I see good things in his future, but certainly I'd be shocked if he goes next episode. All right, so my number 3, Dragon and Mermaid. Poor metaphor aside, she's hard to pin down in any group or pride. Chameleon she may be, and socially low-key. I think Kenzie's safety cannot be denied. So, again, it's hard to follow up the limerick, because, like, there it is. But Kenzie is, like, the amazing comeback kid, because she was, like, tarred by Banu. Everyone knew, huge threat, mastermind, controlling the votes, demonizing this poor, sweet 40-year-old man. And then she's completely rehabilitated her image, and everybody loves her. And like Hunter, he's got to find new allies. He goes to Kenzie. Ben, forget his old allies. He's in with Kenzie now. She's in with Charlie and Maria. It's really impressive. So she's like in this incredible glue spot on the tribe, which is very unique. And you can see it in some previous winners who just have this charisma that everyone wants to work with. I find it very hard to believe she's going before like finale, just because of the constant editing through her perspective, the fact that everyone feels so good about her. We never hear anything bad about her. She puts Tiff on the block, and then it doesn't get back to Tiff, it seems. So obviously she's higher on the totem pole. For all those reasons, I think Kenzie is pretty much a sure thing this episode, and that kind of clocks my top 3 that I'm very confident is not going to go.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about Kenzie. Something I just realized. Another like reason that she's in a better position than maybe she should be. She could have gotten some heat for winning that immunity challenge. Like people thinking she's going to be good at challenges. But then she like intentionally or not sandbags this immunity challenge. Like is not doing well on the balance beam, and again kind of like lowers her threat level. So yeah, she's done a really really good job kind of reducing her threat level that she had coming into the merge.
Yeah, I think my Kenzie thing is going to be she threw out her closest ally's name and it didn't happen. So that's just like a weapon somebody can use against her if need be. And like, you know, if it happens in like one cycle, well, she's gone, I don't have to worry about her. But if she sticks around and then, you know, Q still like it's that would make me a little nervous to still have that I made that speech to so many people out there in case they need it against me. That's my only Kenzie concern.
It's a valid Kenzie concern. And we'll get there
Yeah.
with my limerick eventually. Many, many limericks from now, maybe. But I'll go for my third limerick here. Venus, she lives for the mess. No more hunter, now she's the huntress. She's making inroads, just a few votes to go until third place. It's anyone's guess. Thank you. Thank you.
Yo,
Huntress. I was
that-
Huntress.
Oh,
Yeah, I felt I was that was my most exciting
Yeah.
limerick to write.
gold,
So,
gold
yeah.
star for that one.
Yep.
Thank you. Can we get an extra couple points for that?
Yeah.
Does that come with the gold star? Yeah, so Venus, I was so concerned about her for such a long time. First of all, she's an amazing character on television. Like, she's so much fun to watch. But just the way that she communicates, I think, was putting off literally every person that she spoke with. So I really thought that she was down and out. But now I think she's reached the point where she's maybe like Angelina herself, in that she was so big that she's been defanged and now can very easily be brought to the end. So that's kind of like one element of Venus that I see happening. But also, I think she is kind of cooling down on her intensity of communication a little bit. Like, we saw her in a lot of, yeah, you know that. Oh, whoa, I got big eyes, big eyes.
Big eyes
You know
like, she's like, hey,
Oh my
Mr.
gosh.
Strategy, what's it like to suck at Survivor? Was basically how she.
Okay, true. with Hunter, but Hunter's
Okay.
gone now. You know what I mean? Like, everyone else, we saw her having what felt like kind of a normal strategic, conversation with. And she was in talks with Liz, and she voted along with Kenzie this week. It seemed like she was communicating. I'm kind of, based on Gordon, your interview with Hunter, it seems like they maybe all got on the same page to split those votes this week.
Yeah.
I think that bodes well for Venus as well, just demonstrating that she can actually work with a group, go along with a plan, and not like blow things up. So I think she is actually in a decent position, maybe not in terms of like win equity, but just in terms of making it through this week. I think she's pretty safe. My next limerick, I need to read through for a second because I feel like I need to it's a bit of a funky one. Okay. The next time on is disconcerting, but really, who is Liz hurting? From riches to just rags, what the heck, hoe bags? This billionaire's just doing her thing. So that's Liz in spot 4. I love what the heck, hoe bags. It's so funny. So yeah, and not only okay, I just like want to talk about the next time on for a second, because we have what the heck, hoe bags. We have her screaming on the beach. And I watched this several times to try to understand what was happening. You hear this like exorcism happening of somebody being like, and I listened to it several times. I was like, who is that? Like, is it the ghost of someone? But I think it's Liz. I think Liz. I think she's really, really about to blow this week. But that being said, who cares? You know what I mean? Like who's she blowing up against? Q, who everyone already, doesn't necessarily want to work with. So even if she really goes off the rails and gets really, really upset, I don't know that it would turn back around to hurt her, because she's not fueling that frustration into anybody except Q, who's already like totally on the bottom. I think she also could totally write it off as like, I'm so hungry, I'm so tired. I think people would like accept an explanation like that if she were to blow up or something. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately for her, because she said this week and last week, she doesn't want to get lost in the shuffle. She doesn't want to just be led. She wants to lead. But I think she's going to be led right through this week, unfortunately.
Now, Frannie, you and I've had issues, you, me, and Owen, trying to figure out a name for this team. How do you feel about the hoe bags?
The hoe bags. I identify with that. That's great.
Gordon Holmes
as a
and the
hoe
hoe
bag.
bag.
So we're all
yeah.
agree. I'll text Owen when this is over.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Well, there was somebody in the group chat, because we have we're so cool. We have a group chat for our team. Somebody in the group chat sent the next episode summary, and it appears that the blow up is over the Applebee's reward. So my thought is that Liz doesn't get to pick to go to Applebee's and explodes, which is fair because she's had no food, but certainly adds a certain element of comedy to the situation. Like in South Pacific when they were freaking out about Jack and Jill. Okay, so my fourth. A canceled Christmas one day comes, even if weeks on. So I see her wish come true, and Tiff soon will be gone. Yet there is no genie in the islands of Fiji, and for Maria, one wish may not two more beckon. Half rhyme. That's what that rhyme zone.
Pecan.
Yeah, I tried to kind of like fake you guys out with the cue.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
It's a voice. It's part of the spiel. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I do think, and spoiler for how my Reggies look, I do think Maria is going to get her way with Q. You saw it hinted at that next time on Survivor. I see Maria. Just ask yourselves, in what situation does Maria get voted out? I mean, think of the coalition of people who have to get together, if it's 4 or 5, to vote against Ben, Charlie, and her. That's a tough group to unite. Q, Liz, who hates Q, Venus is in there. I don't even remember who else is there, but the point is that I really don't see it happening, especially when there are much juicier targets on the board, like people with an idol. So for that reason, again, I see Maria safe, at least for this vote. I think, however, that like her runway might be rapidly shortening because soon she's going to be a situation where there's no one to hide behind. My number 5, though.
I'm sorry, Drew, before you move on, you just
of course.
I'm saying this all gets thrown into the mix. Like, you're like, how could they align all these people against these people? Once you throw Applebee's into the mix, sorry, man, all bets are off. Like
all bets are off.
Yeah, like if you keep
new lines are drawn.
If you keep me from my boneless wing, I was trying to think of like an Applebee's specialty. Well, I couldn't have been.
They have that. They got the like shark bowl. Is that Applebee's?
Yeah, no, like I was thinking like a bloomin' onion. That's Outback. So like Applebee's, get on board with more signature items that we can make fun of.
All right, so my number 5. I spy a hungry caterpillar who may, with a little food, become a moth one day. Yet burned by twinkling flame, an overzealous chase of fame, I fear Liz may never truly get to play. So yeah, again, similar to you, Frannie, like for actually the exact same rationale. Liz wants to be a leader. She's getting, she's like one of the kids in like kindergarten line with the rope, just holding on, getting towed around. I think her story, sadly, is going to be not getting what she wants at any step of this game. She's not going to get picked for the reward, the Applebee's. Doesn't get credit for any moves. She doesn't get Q going home when she wants to. That being said, there is kind of a situation where if somebody has nothing going for them, they've got nothing going against them either. They're 0. So for that reason, I think Liz probably is going to be cruising through this one. It doesn't really make much sense at this really high volatility stage of the game. Like, so many flashy things have happened. So many tempers are flared to go against Liz, who is relatively innocuous. So that's my 5.
I like it. Yeah. I'm not like writing down your ranking. We have more similar than I was hoping, but I think there's enough of I don't know. There's some disparities. That
you don't smell a disparity, Frannie?
I'm wafting. I'm not getting anything.
The scent of sweet disparity.
A whiff in the air. Okay, let's see. My spot 5. This Swifty's been killing the game, but did his win put a flag on his name? The tribe thinks he's sweet, but he's here to compete. Will enemies start to take aim? So the Swifties, Charlie. By the way,
was it?
Yeah. What? Oh God, I couldn't tell. Yeah, they all love Taylor. So yeah, by the way, just need to say, like, the challenge that they did this week, this one, with that is like my dream challenge. I talked about that all through casting. Like, that is my favorite challenge ever. I'm so bummed that I didn't have a chance to do it and that they got to. I'm very jealous. But good for him. I think it's wonderful that he won. He seems very excited. He's in a great position, as we've talked about. Like, he's just incredibly diplomatic, a great narrator, really thinking through things carefully. But like I mentioned earlier, I think we're at the point in the game where people are going to start really looking around and thinking who can win, who, you know, hasn't been getting any heat yet, who is in a really good position. And I think that eyes could start turning towards Charlie. I'm also honestly putting him lower and some of the other people on my list as sort of an in case, just because this group is so wacky that I could see something crazy happening like Charlie going home. And I was hoping that you would put him high. So if he does go, then maybe we can pick up some points. But yeah, he's so diplomatic, he's so good, but I think he is starting to draw a little bit more attention to himself. I mean, he was right up against Hunter in that the pole challenge the other week. Now he beats Hunter, who's ostensibly like the biggest challenge threat this week. He's never had his name come up in any real way. And I could see people start to feel concerned about him. But I will say, there's somebody else right next to him that I'm a little more concerned for, which brings me to my next limerick. With Maria, there's something amiss. Classic case of big move-itis. She's obsessed with credit, might go too far to get it, and disrupt that good swing vote bliss. So that's Maria. Thank you. Yeah, I think she and Charlie, like we've talked about, in a great position. They're kind of making the decisions about whose plan goes through without necessarily getting the credit. And I think that's a really good thing. But it really seems like Maria is getting concerned about that lack of credit. We see her talking about it this week with you know, not wanting to go along with Kenzie's plan just because she wants the credit for it. And I think that mindset is really dangerous. And that's the kind of thing that could lead her to act rashly and upset the apple cart when she doesn't really need to. So I don't know. I think that, Drew, you have a good point in thinking about like all the people that we need to get together to get Maria out. But if attention is suddenly drawn to them as a duo and being like in the middle, I think that she's in a worse position than Charlie. Plus the fact that she hasn't like, I think she's just like a little less diplomatic than Charlie. Like I think back to the secret scene that she had with Ben, where she wasn't really giving him much of an opening. And then that conversation she had with Venus a couple of weeks ago when Soda went home, where she is just like, I don't know, just kind of called Venus out on Venus's communication style, was really hesitant to like commit to something that she didn't want to do. I think all of that puts just like a slightly worse taste in people's mouth compared to the way that Charlie is communicating with them. So that's why I have her a smidge lower.
So I have a question for people who have actually been to Fiji and played the game. When somebody says your name, like Tiffany said Maria's name, how hard is it to let go? Should you ever let it go? Because obviously Tiffany is way more interested in Q these days. So she's not really a threat to Maria anymore. But throwing it out to the both of you, once somebody puts your name out there, like, is it imperative to get them, or is it something where you can, you know, move on if there are more important targets?
Curious to hear your opinion.
I think that, and it, you know, it'll be a tough answer for you to disagree with me, Frannie, but I think a mark of a bad player is holding a grudge. Like if you remember who votes for you and like, oh, like I'm gonna get you, like I won't forget this. 9 times out of 10, like that, you know, you're a bad player. You need to be strategically flexible. Like situations change. Odd bedfellows are like the name of the game in the mid merge. So I really think that that being open and flexible is key. I mean, what do you think, Frannie?
Yeah, I think that any sort of inflexibility in the game puts blinders on you, both in terms of you know, who you really want to work with and who you really don't want to work with, or who, you know, you feel has wronged you. Like you said, I think flexibility, especially at this stage, is like super, super important. And I don't know, I think it also doesn't do great things for you socially if you get like really upset if your name gets brought up, if you continue to like harp on it. I think it's helpful to appear chill, you know what I mean? Because it leaves the door open for people to continue to work with you. Yeah, I think it's tough though, because we have seen instances of people really wanting to get vengeance and getting it successfully and then like winning. Like Jam really did that on my season and it worked well for him. But in general, I think it's a waste of time and energy.
I just feel like your A goal should be get to the end with 2 people you think you can defeat in front of a jury, and anything to the side, they could put that at risk. Seems like a waste of time. Like, I'm so good at Survivor from my couch. I keep saying that, like sitting here watching on TV, fully
You're
fed,
just incredible at it.
full night's sleep. I'm so good at Survivor, you guys.
Yeah. I feel very inadequate, so
All right, so since Frannie, we do have a disagreement. I have Venus. You seem to think that that Venus is toned it down, and we're not out there. Who can say? I'm not sure I get that sense, because I noticed that there are like two sides to the Venus coin. And the first one is like the little sister poking and prodding, which you get with little Hunter and Q on the beach. I liked, you gotta take your way and you gotta take your digs. But the other side is the gloat side. And that when Venus thinks she's in command and she's got the position, total personality 180. She's so confident, she's dismissive, she gloats. She's kind of excessive with the compliments at Tribal, and it like roasts people the wrong way. Soda, Tevin, Hunter, more will come. I forgot my limerick. Forget this. I'm gonna do the limerick now.
Scratch all of that.
Yeah, I made that up. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, unless they've got everything upside down. Then lightly time flies, and with no allies, Venus has no power to stop a meltdown. So again, just adding on to that, I think that Venus, her confidence is perhaps a little bit of a mirage. She doesn't have people who will bat for her. She doesn't really have a coalition that, she has any agency in. She's brought on as an add-on. They don't even want to tell her the vote, really. And I just think that if she were to rub people the wrong way by taking too much credit, like she did with Tevin, on a very status-conscious cast, they all have status anxiety, she could kind of elevate herself into being a threat. Even though she might not be. She might not have that power to actually act on those impulses. So for that reason, I think Venus is perennially going to be in danger. I'm never going to have her in the top half of my list, and that's why she's number 6. My number 7.
I just want to say that's a really interesting way of framing that, Drew, that they all have status anxiety. And it's interesting because that is probably a contributing factor to why Venus is so disruptive and distressing to this group of people. Because I think that I can see why people think Venus is annoying, but some seem to have such a reaction to her that's kind of feels outsized. And maybe that the combination of this status anxiety and the fact that she's poking at exactly what they're anxious about is really interesting.
I mean, the worst thing for Venus's game is that she gets her way. If she actually manages to attract enough attention that she's taken seriously, it's over for her, because she's got nothing. I mean, she's asking to get raided and pillaged. And I really don't. Again, it's another situation of like Liz, you're not getting your way and you're here. But if you start to get your way, you have absolutely no bulwark to protect you. My number 7, however, there is a new name in haute couture, and a look to shake Survivor for sure. Yet with his Q skirt and socially no shirt, I worry Q's runway ends with manure. It's a half round again.
That's good. That's good. I was wondering if you were going to work in the Q skirt. So
yeah. It's too easy. When was the last time Survivor coined some apparel? You had the America flag with I don't even remember his name. Australia back in the day, Kobe. Right? What was his name?
It was a Texas flag. It was Kobe's.
Texas.
I'm showing how weak a fan I am. Okay, Q has burned every bridge that's been held out to him, and if he makes it through this round, it will be purely because there's a bigger fish to fry. And I agree with Frannie, that's very likely. There have been bigger comeback stories. He's a physical threat in what is now probably not physically the strongest cast anymore. I think they've taken out a lot of their bigger challenge players with Tim, with Hunter. His real rivalries are Charlie and maybe Kenzie I could see doing well. So he has the potential for a run. He's got a potential to find an idol. I'm sure he's looking like crazy now that one is going to be replanted. But again, it's another Venus type situation where he doesn't have any agency to protect himself. And I'm always really wary about people in the mid-merge when there's a while to go. I maintain it's too early to be looking at goats to, bring along. It's too unpredictable. I always worry about people in that position. So for that reason, Q is my number 7.
One thing about Q. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, please, Frannie, after you.
So the interesting thing about Q, and part of the reason I think why I placed him a little higher that I was just thinking about. So like in the next time on, which they can often be misleading, but we see Maria sort of talking to Q about how he's ruined his position, but she can help him or he can change that. I could see like several people on this tribe, this merge tribe, looking at Q and thinking, nobody else wants to work with that guy. Could I be the one person to like harness the power of the Q? So, you know, I don't know. There could be like a total topsy-turvy situation where Q actually maybe has some people coming to him because they're like, maybe I can be the change, you know, that I want to see in the world and make Q do something.
I could be the coach.
There
I agree with you,
yeah.
but it bodes ill that like Venus has been in that position for weeks of our time, and nobody has done that for her. I mean, maybe it's just a personality difference, people coming through for Q, and it looks like Maria is, but I am cautious.
The term I've been trying to coin for somebody like Q, someone like Tony Vellaccio, someone like Russell Hantz, is a force of nature. Like, you know, you can't get mad at a dog for biting you. It's the dog's nature. Like that, you know, I can't get mad for a hurricane for blowing down my house. You know, that's just how it works. And he's got that same kind of energy where what it's going to come down to is if he gets to the end, it's either, do you like this person or do you not like this person? Because Russell Hantz played these amazing games, but he rubbed people the wrong way the entire way. And Tony Vellaccios did a lot of the same crazy stuff, but you like Tony. It's like, this person's an a-hole, but this person, he's our a-hole. We like him. He's our buddy. You got to know him to understand. And it seems like Q, where is he on that stage? Because they show us stuff like the Q skirt. I like the Q skirt. I like the inventor of the Q skirt. I want to take it on Shark Tank with him. But you know, then you also see him and Tiffany, people who were trying to work with him and they worked against him. So I did say I'd be trying to get to the end with him, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's likable enough to play that game with your hair on fire and then get to the end and be able to turn it around. So not completely ready to write Q off just yet. Yeah,
one thing about Q is he presents with so much authenticity. He is so purely Q. Like he's not, it really doesn't feel like a put on in a way that I think some other like crazy players, it sort of feels like they're playing it up. It really just feels like he is that intense. So I don't know, could be like endearing or people might like that about him. Who's to say?
What's 7 to you, Frannie?
7 to me. Okay, let's see. Turning on her best of friends. She needs to go make amends because if that gets out, Tiff's angry, no doubt. Could be time for an end to the Kens. So that's Kenzie in my spot 7. Thank you. These are my last minute limericks. I'm pretty pleased with them. So Kenzie, I think this is probably my biggest swing is having Kenzie this low because I agree with you, Drew. You know, just from an editing perspective, she is a huge narrator of this season. She seems to be positioned well. You know, we have a lot of people coming to her and being in open communication with her. But like you said, Gordon, I think the fact that she targeted Tiff will be used against her because what reason is there for any of the other players not to go immediately to Tiff and tell her about that? And I think that Tiff is going to be pissed because if she feels like both of my closest allies have turned on me, I think she's going to go full renegade and want to turn it on Kenzie. And I think it could just blow up in her face. So this is like, I think in my heart of hearts, if I was doing this ranking, not as a competition, but just if you're just asking me, I don't know if I would put Kenzie this low. But I'm doing it because I didn't think you would put Kenzie this low, Drew. And this is, you know, at the end of the day, this is a battle. So I want to have that option. If things really go wild, I can grab some points. That's a thought process here with Kenzie. I hope I don't disappoint, Gordon.
We're gonna be in that wedding, Frannie.
I know, I was going to say this. This could really is a big swing, and it could also be a really big whiff week for me. But given all that, I'm pretty confident in my. I'm
so happy to be here for Frannie on her big day. We first met doing the Survivor Power Rankings for season 2.
No.
It's crazy. It seems like we both have the same 8. I thought I was going to be unique doing that, which is, you know.
Yeah, well, so did I. So this is unfortunate.
That's tough.
Yeah, you know, we both think we're special, but at the end of the day,
both special to me.
Oh,
thanks, Gordon.
Oh wait, can we make the
do it?
Gordon's favorite?
I'm so bad at it. Yeah, I don't get it.
What?
Isn't that? How does she do that? Yeah, it's something with food.
Yes, I am just special.
Frannie wins.
Frannie wins.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't happen for you. But okay, my final limerick. It's amazing her idol's still here, but I don't think that things are all clear. Because who's on her side? Her allies all lied. I'm afraid that Tiff's end is quite near. We'll probably say the same things here, but I'm concerned for Tiff. It feels insane to put her in 8th place, given that she has an idol, but she was confident enough not to play it this week at a time where I definitely would have. And I think that that confidence, which was well placed this week, could very easily turn into overconfidence next week. She might feel like she's out of the water. The heat is off of her a little bit, and she can, sort of take the foot off the gas, not play the idol and save it for a later date. I think that could come back to bite her. We have 2 people who we've seen like pretty emphatically campaigning against her. Kenzie and Maria, both wanting to get her out, both wanting to take credit for it. I think that that's a plan that Q could so easily hop on and even, help spearhead. So, yeah, I'm really worried for her. I think that holding onto the idol was clearly smart because she didn't need it, but it only enlarges her target. Whereas if she had just blown it this week, I think she'd be in more of a quiet position to skate to the end.
Totally. My limerick, again, will echo some of the points. How high I was on you, oh Tiffany, with confessions that live in infamy. But your idol's too hot and you've been got. I don't think you'll spark an epiphany.
Ooh.
Epiphany, yeah, good bag pulling that. No, again, so many of the same reasons. Like if you look at the dynamic on this cast, there are a lot of people who don't benefit from having Tiff around. Maria knows that Tiff is coming after her, knows things are icy. Kenzie, she honestly benefits from having Tiff around, but she doesn't see that. So, okay, strike 2. And then she's made any reconciliation with Q absolutely impossible. So at this point, Q knows that for him to have a chance of reintegrating with this group, he needs his biggest objector, Tiffany, to be out of the way. So I think that those 3 players who are given a lot of credit and power, both on the beach and by the edit, really, really bode poorly for her. The thing about like holding the idol like that is that the first time it's a foolproof move, right? The first time it's good. Or not foolproof, but like, the first time people really buy into that. I remember Malcolm did that, I think, in Philippines, like a number of times in a row. Great effect. Second time, it doesn't really work. Second time, like the joke's not funny when it's retold. I think she might believe she'd get away with it. I doubt she'd get away with it with some of the snipers on this cast. And it seems very, very clear to me. This is the clearest boot I feel like in a while that Tiffany's going to go. And it's astounding because she is an idol. And yet I think she's gone.
Well, yeah. And Drew, like when you're listing off all the people who are actively trying to get her, I totally agree. Plus, on top of that, the people who are remaining, are any of them that close to her? Does Charlie feel like he has a special relationship with Tiff? Ben, Liz, Venus? No, like I think, if anything, they might feel distant from her. So yeah, I think her name's going to come up. Nobody's going to fight for her. And if they can just make her feel safe, then she's totally done.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, the picks are locked in. We have a single lock, and it's a big one in spot 8. Tiffany is the most likely to go home. She's got to go home because you both can't be wrong because you're both experts. But for that to happen, that means 3 idols will go unplayed this season, which is absolutely mind-blowing, which will mean they are cursed. The disparity this week, Frannie had Q in spot 2. Drew had him in spot 7. So Q, you can't go home, buddy. You cannot go home because I need cupcakes. Like I said, the picks are locked in. Enter your picks in the comment section below. Feel free to keep score and play along. We all play by the honor system here. We're all friends. We trust each other. Frannie, tell us about this podcast you have going on.
Oh yeah, the D&D podcast. So it's Surviving the Dice podcast. It's with myself, Kane Fritzler, name drop, Carson and Matt from season 44. And we just play Dungeons and Dragons and have really fun Survivor guests along the way. So most recently, very exciting, we had Rob Sesternino on the pod. That man does not know how to play D&D, but he tried his very best and it was so much fun. So give that a listen. Gabby's 3-episode arc recently released, also super, super good. Great for like first time D&D listeners. Like if you're kind of trying to get into it, it's a great start. Yeah, Drew, if you ever want to come on the podcast, I don't know if you're a D&D person.
I look like I should be. I've never played, but this summer, get back to me. Maybe we can do something.
Drew,
Potentially, yeah.
Drew, do you have anything you want to call out?
Shout out Charlie's mom, Charlie's dad. What did Tim say?
Oh,
Shout out
yeah.
my mom.
Tevin's mom. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tevin. Yeah, shout out Cast of 46. I hope like we're cool, even though I should talk you guys on here. And yeah, that's it. Big stuff to promo soon, Gordon. You'll see.
All right. I
Big
can't wait.
stuff.
Can't wait. All right. So if you
Hey,
enjoy
come
this
up with it.
content, and how can you not? You've been here for 50 minutes. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, gently nudge that notification bell. Frannie, Drew, thank you so much for being a part of this. This was so much fun. I still can't believe people waste their time doing this. Until next time, for Drew, for Frannie, for all you hobags out there, thank you for joining us. And please hope to see you next Monday for even more of the Survivor 46 Power Rankings.